Heading into my freshman year of track, I wasn't used to competing at the high school level and didn't have the speed and strength to be a very competitive varsity runner. Compared to middle school track, the level of competition is much higher, and there was a much higher level of commitment to be successful. Starting off freshman track, I was running in the mid-520s for the 1600, which was okay for the time, but I was very disappointed as I didn't seem to drop under 520 for a while, as I had broken 515 in the time trial before. Finally, I had season PRs of 10:15 in the 3200 and 5:10 in the mile, which were really good races for me at the time. I learned to never let myself get too comfortable in my races and always to push everything, and that it takes patience sometimes. Heading into my sophomore year of cross country, I had a lot of big goals for myself and I knew our team could be really good. Midway through the season, I unfortunately got injured and was out for 2 weeks, which set me back a little, but I worked hard to get back by cross training and returned for the conference meet. My first meet back, I was a little out of shape and not used to racing for a little, but it got a little better each race. I wasn't yet varsity, so I didn't run in the state series races in the top 7. Runners who aren't varsity run a time trial that is held after the race, and if one of the runners in the time trial beats the 7th man's time, that runner takes the 7th man's spot in the next race. In the state series time trials, I had a lot of really good races and came close to my season goals. Our varsity squad was really good that year and our goal was to win state. At the 2018 state meet, our varsity squad took it out really strong, but we fell back a little. We still had enough runners to finish strong enough to place top 5 for a podium spot. I continued in the Junior Olympic Series again for my sophomore year. I qualified individually and our team moved on to regionals in Illinois. Moving into my sophomore year of track, I did a lot of hard work in the off season and put in the miles. In indoor track, I markedly improved my time from the previous year in the 1600, running a PR of 5:03. Moving into the outdoor track season, we had very rainy and windy conditions in multiple meets. In the 1600, I consistently ran in the low 5s. I finished off the season with a 5:02 mile and an impressive 10:23 in the 3200, which was very good for me at the time and a big improvement from my freshman year of track. Heading into my junior year of cross country, my goal was to run varsity and run at state. At the beginning of the season, I was running top 10 around the 8th or 9th spot. Coming into the Franklin Invitational was my first time breaking into the top 7, finishing in the top 5 for our team. The Harrison Invite was my first top 7 varsity race. I ended up breaking 17 minutes in the 5K for the first time, running a PR of 16:39. The next several races, I ran as our 5th or 6th runner on the team, consistently running under sub 17. Heading into the state series, this was my first time running top 7 for sectionals, regionals, semi-state, and state. My goal was to consistently run in the 1630s and help the chase pack group move up with the 4th and 5th runner. At regionals, I ran a sub 1630, which was a huge accomplishment for me at the time. heading into the last two races, we had really big goals. At semi-state, we just nearly edged out Columbus to win semi-state, as our 5th runner edged out Columbus's 4th runner in the final sprint. This year was my first state meet as a runner at South. I lost my shoe at the 2nd mile and ran a whole mile without one shoe to finish with a solid time of 17:07 and placed 133rd in the state. We placed 9th at state, which was a little disappointing, but this race was one of my most memorable races as a runner at South. Moving into my junior year of track, I was really excited to see what I could do on the track after running a really good mile time trial of 4:46 right after the cross country season. I continued doing a lot of strength training and building up for what would have been a great track season. I did a few indoor meets to see what I could run, but I wasn't used to racing after a while. I had one really good indoor meet running a 4:49 on the indoor track and was excited for the outdoor season, but I was absolutely not expected for what was to go down. My whole outdoor season of track was canceled my junior year because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which lasted a very long time. I spent a lot of the spring training alone and doing time trials. I was very excited for my senior year of cross country though. At the beginning of my senior year of cross country, I had a lot of great workouts, but I struggled in the beginning of the season and races after not racing in about 6 months. After about a few races, I came close to my PR within a few seconds. Each week, I consistently had about a 5-second PR and was our #1 runner for several races of the season, which was very exciting. I finished all conference at the conference meet, placing 11th with a PR of 16:20. I then PR'd again the next race with a 16:16 at the Bedford Ted Fox Invitational, where I had my PR the previous 2 years at the regional meet. I had my season best the next week at Nike Twilight running a 16:11. Moving to the state series, I consistently was our front runner up through the regional meet. I placed 2nd at sectionals and had a solid race at regionals, placing 5th. At semi-state, our team had a solid race and still qualified for state, placing 4th in a season when our team was not quite as talented as the previous years. My last state cross-country race was a pretty solid race. I finished 100th in the state, which was a decent improvement from the previous year, and I was happy with the performance, knowing that I gave all I had and had a fun season. I had a very strong senior year of track, and it couldn't have ended better. Since last year's track season was canceled, I was very excited to see what I could do on the track since we didn't get a season the year before. This year, with the pandemic still going on, the indoor track season was canceled, leaving us with a very long off season to prepare for the outdoor track season in the spring. This year in track, I drastically dropped my time in both the mile and the 3200. I had very many strong third races in the 3200 competing for the win. I broke 10 minutes for the first time in the 3200 in our dual meet with Columbus, running a PR of 9:59, which was very exciting. I started out that race, followed behind a couple of Columbus North varsity runners, and held on with a strong kick to run sub 10 in the 3200. A victory this year at the BHSS versus BHS in dual meet, running a 9:55. I led that whole race, and on the last lap, I left it with a huge kick to go on and win. I finished off my last high school race this year at the regional race at Bloomington North in the 3200. I started the race midway through the pack and settled in around the 6th or 7th spot for most of the race. Heading into the last lap, I was around the 4th or 5th position and made a huge move on the backstretch to try to place second for state, but I just got barely outkicked on the last stretch, just missing a spot for state by less than a second. But it was still one of my most amazing races since I ran a PR of 9:43.93. It was a race I'll always remember. I'm very excited to see what I can do this year at Franklin College, and good luck to the Panthers this year in cross country and track next season.
All you can do, John, everything, John! Go! Come on,